Has this surprised you, how much the viewership has gravitated towards this woman? Like, people from all over the world are talking about.
Will be on the general election ballot despite an attempt to block her candidacy by an ally of current Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
Get ready for a wild ride. This isn't just politics, it's more like the next must-watch drama series. We're diving into a story of betrayal, courtroom battles, and even an arrest. Yes, you read that correctly, an actual arrest. The action is unfolding in Dalton, Illinois, where Mayor Tiffany Henyard's time in office has been nothing short of a reality TV spectacle. If you've ever thought small-town politics was boring, think again. This story has everything.
The saga surrounding embattled South suburban politician Tiffany Henyard.
Government meeting, the kind where you expect nothing more than some paperwork, budget reviews, and perhaps a mild policy debate. But not in Dalton. This meeting quickly descended into chaos no one saw coming. Enter Mayor Tiffany Henyard, a larger-than-life figure with a knack for stirring things up. Like a dramatic character crashing into the final act of a play, she showed up unannounced at a trustees' gathering, though she wasn't even supposed to be there. But when has that ever stopped her? Held at a local park district building, the room was already buzzing with tension, residents packed in eager for the latest chapter in what had become a full-blown political spectacle. And then, Henyard made her dramatic entrance.
Mayor Tiffany Henyard was not at the hearing here today, neither was her attorney, and she was not made available for a...
Let's rewind for a moment, because this wasn't just some random outburst, it was the result of months, even years, of escalating tension. Since taking office, Mayor Tiffany Henyard has made headlines for all the wrong reasons. Financial scandals? Check. Federal investigations? Double check. Allegations of mismanagement and targeting political opponents? Absolutely. But that's not all. She's also been accused of ignoring court orders, making questionable appointments, and clashing with nearly everyone in her orbit. Henyard's leadership style has left trustees, residents, and even the courts frustrated and fed up. Now, back to the infamous meeting. Anticipating the growing crowd, the trustees moved the session to a park district building. But the residents weren't there just for the meeting, they were there for the drama, and Henyard didn't disappoint. Meanwhile, she tried to hold her own meeting at Village Hall, but with too few trustees present, her plan quickly fell apart. Determined not to be sidelined, Henyard hopped into her car, drove to the park district building, and stormed into the trustees' meeting. Her entrance was anything but subtle. Eyewitnesses described the atmosphere as electric, with tension so thick it felt like you could cut it with a knife. As Henyard walked in, residents turned their backs in a silent but powerful act of defiance. And then the fireworks began. Grabbing the microphone, Henyard proclaimed, "I am the mayor of the village of Dalton," as though to reassert her authority. But the crowd wasn't having it. Boos and shouts erupted, drowning out her voice in a tidal wave of frustration. Chaos ensued. While Henyard is no stranger to conflict, the backlash this time was overwhelming. She lasted just 7 minutes before being forced to leave, effectively booed out of the meeting. Yet, as dramatic as her exit was, the chaos didn't end there. What happened next left even the most seasoned political observers stunned. Reports began circulating that Mayor Tiffany Henyard, visibly furious after her public humiliation, allegedly became physical with one of the officials present. Yes, the situation escalated to the point where police, stationed nearby in anticipation of trouble, had to step in. In a twist that felt more like the climax of a season finale than a real-life event, Henyard was arrested. That's right, the sitting mayor of Dalton, Illinois, was taken into custody right at the meeting. Residents watched in disbelief as she was led away, leaving behind a room full of shocked witnesses and more questions than answers. But this arrest didn't come out of nowhere. It was the culmination of months of legal battles and an intensifying conflict between Henyard and the trustees. At the heart of the clash was her insistence on making key appointments, such as naming a new police chief, without the board's approval. This defiance had already led to a court order barring her from making unilateral decisions. Did she comply? Of course not. Henyard's leadership style has always been my way or the highway, and this situation was no exception. Her repeated disregard for the restraining order only added fuel to the fire, setting the stage for the explosive events that led to her dramatic arrest.
It's about democracy and it's about hypocrisy.
I really think it's very hypocritical.
Then there's the financial mess. Mayor Henyard's administration has been plagued by allegations of misusing public funds. From lavish taxpayer-funded trips to questionable event spending, her financial decisions have raised serious concerns. One of the most shocking revelations involved the village's general fund, which was found to have a negative balance running into the millions. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot even conducted a limited review of Dalton's finances, uncovering a staggering $40,000 spent on Amazon purchases in just one day, none of which were properly documented. And the story doesn't end there. The FBI has issued subpoenas as part of an ongoing federal investigation, targeting Henyard's political committee and even her now-defunct burger business. It's a financial disaster that has left residents wondering where their tax dollars are really going, and why their mayor seems more focused on consolidating power than tackling the town's growing problems.
Meant from Mayor Tiffany Henyard. Voters here will first head to the polls in February for the primary election, then the general mayoral.
The financial controversies surrounding Mayor Henyard don't stop there. Her time in office has been marked by lavish spending on events that critics argue are more about boosting her personal image than benefiting the community. Take, for example, a concert with poor attendance that reportedly cost over $85,000. Funds that could have been better spent addressing Dalton's deteriorating infrastructure or pressing public safety issues. Critics contend that while Henyard seems eager to fund extravagant events, basic village services have been overlooked, leaving residents increasingly frustrated. Further fueling the controversy are reports of luxurious trips paid for by taxpayers. These trips allegedly included stays at upscale hotels, extravagant meals, and travel expenses that far exceed what most small-town mayors would deem reasonable. Henyard's office has defended the trips, claiming they were crucial for economic development and regional partnerships. However, no tangible results have been shown to justify the high costs. Residents have been outspoken in their disapproval, with many calling for an independent audit to determine just how much taxpayer money has been spent and whether any of it has been misused. These ongoing allegations have only deepened the perception that Henyard's priorities are more about self-promotion than effective leadership.
Need some action, somebody that's actually going to do their job. How about that? Somebody that's come in, work for the people, not themselves.
Then there's the issue of Henyard's so-called cancer charity, which has only deepened the controversy. The charity, established under her name, was shut down after it failed to disclose how it spent its funds, leaving many to question its legitimacy. While Henyard has insisted that the organization was created to help those in need, critics argue that the lack of transparency tells a different story. Combined with ongoing federal investigations into her office and personal finances, the charity scandal has only further damaged her credibility. For many in Dalton, this isn't just a single mistake. It's part of a troubling pattern of behavior that raises serious concerns about accountability. And the criticism isn't just coming from the courts and trustees, residents are fed up too. As one longtime Dalton resident put it, the real business isn't being done because of all this nonsense. We need someone who's actually going to work for the people, not themselves. Another resident, visibly frustrated by the ongoing turmoil, chimed in. This city will be so glad when she is out of office in politics totally. It's a sentiment shared by many in the community, who are longing for a leader focused on real governance instead of drama.
I think it's a big game to them, and they don't understand that the more confusion and the more back and forth that we do, no one suffers but the people of the...
Not everyone is opposed to Henyard, of course. She still has a group of supporters who see her as a fighter challenging established interests. In a recent social media post, she called on her followers to stand by her, presenting herself as a champion of the people. However, even some of her allies are starting to have doubts about her leadership. One supporter remarked, "It would have been wonderful to see Tiffany in handcuffs and placed in custody. Hopefully we will see the feds come get her." It's a clear sign that while Henyard still has some backing, the tide is undeniably shifting against her.